What if I told you there was a boxer who was so poor he had to drop out of school at age 12 to sell donuts on the street just to survive? A kid who weighed barely 98 pounds living in a house with a roof made of cardboard, who would one day become the only 8-division world champion in boxing history. From sleeping on the streets of Manila to earning over $500 million in career purses, Manny Pacquiao's story isn't just about boxing. It's about the impossible becoming inevitable. His breathtaking speed, his devastating left hand, and his warrior spirit made him a global icon. But how did a malnourished street vendor from General Santos City transform himself into Pacman, the fighter who brought an entire nation to a standstill every time he stepped into the ring? And why did legends like Oscar De La Hoya, the golden boy of boxing, choose to face him despite knowing the risk? To find out, we need to go back to 1978, to a tiny town in the southern Philippines where a future legend was born into absolute poverty. December 17th, 1978. In the poverty-stricken town of Kibawe, Bukidnon, in the southern Philippines, Manny Pacquiao entered a world where survival wasn't guaranteed. His mother, Dionysia, struggled to feed 6 children, while his father, Rosalio, a man with a violent temper and a gambling addiction, could barely provide for the family. They lived in a house, if you could even call it that, with walls made of crumbling concrete and a roof patched together from cardboard and rusty metal sheets. By the time Manny turned 6, the family had moved to General Santos City, hoping for better opportunities. But the reality was harsh. While other kids his age were learning to read and write in school, young Manny was learning something else entirely: how to fight for every meal. Sometimes we would eat only once a day, Manny would later recall, and sometimes not at all.
We don't have our own house, we don't have land, we don't have even food. We just, we have to work every day to make money to buy food for the family. So even we're too young to work, but we have to work.
At age 12, Manny made a decision that would change his life forever. He dropped out of school, not because he wanted to, but because he had no choice. His family needed money, and education was a luxury they simply couldn't afford. So Manny hit the streets, selling donuts, cigarettes, and anything else he could get his hands on. He woke up at 4 a.m. every morning, walking miles through the city with a small cart, hoping to make enough pesos to buy rice for his siblings. But it was during these brutal years on the streets that Manny discovered boxing. He'd watch local fighters train at a run-down gym near the market, their fists crashing against worn leather bags, sweat dripping on the concrete floor. Something inside him stirred, a hunger that had nothing to do with food. At 14 years old, weighing barely 98 pounds, Manny walked into that gym and asked the trainer, a grizzled old coach named Sardo Mejia, if he could train. Mejia looked at the scrawny kid standing before him, ribs visible through his thin shirt, eyes burning with determination, and almost laughed. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the way the kid stood, or the desperation in his voice. "Come back tomorrow," Mejia said. Manny came back, and the day after, and the day after that. While other boys his age were playing basketball or chasing girls, Manny was in that gym, throwing punches until his knuckles bled. He trained with a ferocity that scared even the older fighters, because for Manny, boxing wasn't a sport, it was survival. Every jab, every combination, every drop of sweat was a step away from the cardboard roof and the empty stomach. In 1995, at just 16 years old, Manny Pacquiao had his first professional fight. He won by knockout in the first round. But there was a problem. He weighed only 106 pounds, fighting in the junior flyweight division, one of the smallest weight classes in boxing. The purses were minimal, sometimes just 1,500 pesos, about $30, barely enough to send home to his mother. But Manny kept fighting. He had to, because going back to selling donuts on the street wasn't an option anymore. He had tasted something different now, not just the possibility of money, but the possibility of greatness. However, greatness doesn't come easy, and Manny was about to learn that the hard way. By 1998, 19-year-old Manny Pacquiao had compiled an impressive record of 22 wins, 2 losses, and was quickly becoming known in Filipino boxing circles. His speed was unlike anything trainers had seen. Hands so fast they blurred on camera, footwork that made him nearly impossible to hit cleanly. The kid from General Santos City was no longer just surviving, he was thriving. But then came the wake-up call. On September 17, 1999, Manny faced Medgowan Singsurat, a tough Thai fighter, for the WBC flyweight championship. This was Manny's shot, his chance to become a world champion and change his family's life forever. The fight started exactly as Manny hoped. He dominated the early rounds with his signature combination of speed and power.
สรุปแล้วเนี่ยเหลือเวลาอีก15นาทีถึง6โมง5นาทีนี่หมดเวลาปรากฏว่ายังเกินอีกตั้ง8ขีดก็เกือบปอนด์นะครับท่านผู้ชมครับเรามาดูครับเข็มขัดเส้นนี้เมื่อก่อนนี้อยู่ที่เอวของไอ้หนึ่งครับชัดชัย 3K แบตเตอรี่แต่ว่าตกไปอยู่ที่ฟิลิปปินส์ปีเศษครับแมนนี่แพคเกียวป้องกันครั้งแรกนั้นชนะน็อกคู่ต่อสู้ซึ่งเป็นรองอันดับ1นะครับคือกำแรกของไทยก็คือโผลกิ่งเพชรนะครับที่16 เมษายน 2503
And by the third round, Singsurat's face was already swelling. Victory seemed inevitable. And then, in the blink of an eye, everything went wrong. Singsurat landed a brutal body shot in the third round that buckled Manny's knees. Manny, stunned and hurt, tried to fight back, but his body wouldn't respond. The referee stopped the fight. Manny Pacquiao, the pride of General Santos City, had been knocked out for the first time in his career. Devastated doesn't even begin to describe what Manny felt. He returned to his tiny apartment in Manila, barely able to look his mother in the eyes. I thought I had let everyone down, he later admitted. For weeks, he questioned whether he had what it took to be a champion. Maybe he was just another fighter. Good, but not great. Maybe the poverty he came from would be the poverty he'd return to. But then something shifted. Manny met a man who would change his career forever, Freddie Roach. Roach, a legendary trainer based in Los Angeles, had heard whispers about a Filipino fighter with unbelievable hand speed, but questionable stamina. When he finally saw Manny fight on tape, Roach was intrigued. The kid had raw talent, Roach said, but he was fighting like a street brawler, not a boxer. In 2001, Manny flew to Los Angeles to train at Roach's famous Wild Card Boxing Club. The transformation was immediate. Roach didn't just teach Manny technique, he taught him discipline. No more reckless brawling, no more wasted energy. Roach turned Manny's raw aggression into calculated violence. He taught him angles, footwork, and most importantly, how to pace himself for 12 rounds. Freddie saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, Manny would later say. On June 23, 2001, Manny Pacquiao stepped into the ring against Lelohonolo Ledwaba, the reigning IBF super bantamweight champion from South Africa. This wasn't just another fight, this was Manny's redemption. And from the opening bell, it was clear that something had changed. Manny's combinations were sharper, his defense tighter. He wasn't just throwing punches, he was picking Ledwaba apart, piece by piece.
Pacquiao. Say Pacquiao. Pacquiao should fight here. He shouldn't try to get into a boxing net. The opposite side of that coin is go ahead and keep using it. Trying to box the boxer in bad shape. And Pacquiao landing some hard shots. That's what you got to do. Ledwaba has an excellent jab. Some conventional fighters tend not to use their jab. Attack against Ledwaba. Freddie Roach said to me, pouring blood. Winning this fight hands down when he was fighting. Start boxing, this guy can take over. Seems like a small amount, but you need every drop of blood you can. Well, and when it's pouring straight out of your nose like that, George, it's bound to hand upstairs. And now he's got Ledwaba back on the defensive and bleeding.
Pacquiao is asking questions.
I don't know what a doctor would say about that.
I think he'd say exactly what you're saying. His own blood, and some of it is now appearing all over.
Most important is coming out of your body.
In the sixth round, Manny unleashed a vicious left hook that sent Ledwaba crashing to the canvas. The referee counted to 10. Manny Pacquiao, at 22 years old, was finally a world champion. But this was just the beginning, because while Manny had proven he could win a world title, he hadn't yet proven he could beat a legend. And that test was coming. November 15th, 2003. The MGM Grand in Las Vegas was buzzing with anticipation. Tonight, Manny Pacquiao would face Marco Antonio Barrera, one of the most feared and respected fighters in the world. Barrera wasn't just a champion, he was a destroyer. With a record of 57 wins, 3 losses, and 41 knockouts, the Mexican legend had dismantled every opponent who dared challenge him. Most boxing analysts gave Manny little chance. Sure, he was fast and exciting, but Barrera was on another level. Technical brilliance combined with ruthless precision. Legendary trainer Emmanuel Stewart said before the fight, "Barrera's experience will be too much for Pacquiao. This kid is going to learn a tough lesson tonight." But what the experts didn't understand was that Manny Pacquiao didn't fight like other boxers. He didn't follow the rules. He didn't care about conventional wisdom. He fought like a man who had nothing to lose because for most of his life, he had nothing. From the opening bell, Manny shocked the world. He didn't respect Barrera's reputation. He didn't retreat or play defensive. Instead, he attacked, relentlessly, brutally, beautifully. His left hand crashed into Barrera's face again and again, each punch landing with devastating accuracy.
Hard right hand to the body by Pacquiao. Pacquiao reaching with the left hand. Barrera reaches out and goes to the body with both hands.
Then I like to point out that
Lawrence Cole. Lawrence Cole's going to call that a knockdown as he motions Barrera to a neutral. Marco seems to want to counter the body when Pacquiao goes upstairs. So Pacquiao comes downstairs and goes to the body to set up the left hand upstairs through the guard.
By the third round, Barrera's eye was swelling shut. The crowd, initially skeptical, was on its feet. This wasn't supposed to happen. Barrera was supposed to outbox the young Filipino to expose his flaws and dominate him. But instead, it was Barrera who looked lost, confused, overwhelmed by Manny's unorthodox angles and blistering speed. In the 11th round, Manny landed a crushing combination that sent Barrera stumbling into the ropes. The referee stopped the fight. Manny Pacquiao had just destroyed one of boxing's greatest champions, and he did it in spectacular fashion. "I had never been hit that hard, that fast in my entire career," Barrera admitted afterward. Manny Pacquiao is a special fighter. Back in the Philippines, the entire nation erupted. Streets flooded with celebrations. Strangers hugged each other and cried tears of joy. For a country that had endured decades of poverty, corruption, and struggle, Manny Pacquiao wasn't just a boxer. He was hope incarnated. He was proof that a poor kid from General Santos City could conquer the world. But Manny wasn't satisfied. Beating Barrera was monumental, but there was someone bigger, someone more iconic, someone who represented everything Manny wasn't. Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy. The pretty-faced American superstar with Olympic gold, movie star looks, and a net worth in the hundreds of millions. De La Hoya was everything Manny had once dreamed of being, and now Manny was going to take it all from him. However, before that dream fight could happen, Manny would face more tests, more wars, and more critics who doubted whether his success was real or just a fluke. Spoiler alert, it wasn't a fluke. By 2008, Manny Pacquiao had already captured titles in 5 different weight divisions, an achievement only a handful of fighters in history had accomplished. But the boxing world still had questions. Could Manny beat a true pound-for-pound king? Could he defeat a superstar in his prime? Enter Oscar De La Hoya. De La Hoya, the golden child of American boxing, had won world titles in 6 divisions and generated over $700 million in pay-per-view revenue. He was handsome, charismatic, and still believed to be one of the best fighters on the planet. When the fight was announced for December 6, 2008, the boxing world exploded with excitement. This wasn't just a fight. It was a cultural collision, the American dream versus the Filipino underdog, wealth and privilege versus poverty and hunger. Most experts picked De La Hoya to win. He was bigger, stronger, and more experienced at welterweight. Manny was moving up 2 weight classes to face him, a massive risk. But Freddie Roach saw something different. "Oscar's been fighting for 20 years, Roach said in the weeks before the fight. "He's slowing down. And Manny's just getting started." December 6, 2008, the MGM Grand was packed with 50,000 screaming fans. As Manny walked to the ring, his face was calm, focused, emotionless. He had visualized this moment 1,000 times. The poor kid who once sold donuts on the street was about to face boxing royalty. The opening bell rang, and what happened next was nothing short of surgical destruction.
He's fighting a very intelligent fight.
He takes a straight left hand and a right hook from Pacquiao and seemed factor in round one.
Those seem to have been the only clear punches that have landed thus far. This
Actions from round one, they're simple. De La Hoya is so much taller. Pacquiao so much faster. And now De La Hoya...
Later, he's going to land something. You have to believe that.
He just lands back against him. There is a big swelling taking De La Hoya to the cleaners. Now Oscar sees effectively.
But Oscar's, I think, to me, more aggressive. But the punch with the snap and the speed is coming from
There by Pacquiao. And if there was doubt coming in as to whether Pacquiao could...
And you watch when Manny lands his left, he then moves off and stays out of the line of fire. He hits it, he moves away as soon as he lands it.
This is getting embarrassing.
It's an event. Seemed to be landing for
Oscar
Pacquiao.
looks old. But I don't think he's going to do that.
Now, he's looking like the immortal Armstrong.
And Oscar is barely
Weeks
throwing
looking
back.
very seriously
You
at
wonder if
stopping the
Tony
fight.
Weeks is thinking of stopping the fight.
Yes. Who's looking
Hard
entirely at
shots.
Oscar.
De La Hoya hasn't been down, but that may be the only thing that's keeping Weeks from stopping. Pacquiao is closing in on landing 50 power shots.
No, and he himself says he's going after this fight. This could be the end of the
Fighter who may have the best chance of picking up his identity because Pacquiao's following is growing, not just in the Pacific Rim, but in the United States.
Manny didn't just beat Oscar De La Hoya, he dismantled him. Round after round, Manny's speed and power overwhelmed the Golden Boy. Oscar, who had once moved with the grace of a dancer, now looked slow, old, mortal. Manny's left hand thudded into Oscar's ribs. His combination snapped Oscar's head back. By the 6th round, Oscar's face was a swollen mess. In the corner before the 9th round, Oscar De La Hoya, one of the greatest fighters of all time, looked at his trainer and said words that shocked the world. "I can't do this anymore." Oscar quit. He retired on his stool. Manny Pacquiao had beaten the Golden Boy so badly that he simply gave up. The world had officially witnessed the arrival of a new king. But Manny wasn't done collecting crowns. Over the next 3 years, Manny went on an unprecedented run of dominance. He destroyed Ricky Hatton with a devastating 2nd-round knockout, a punch so vicious that Hatton was unconscious before he hit the canvas. He outclassed Miguel Cotto, stopping him in the 12th round to capture yet another world title. He dominated Antonio Margarito, a fighter significantly bigger and stronger, making him look amateurish over 12 brutal rounds. By 2010, Manny Pacquiao had won world titles in 8 different weight divisions, a feat that had never been accomplished before and likely never will be again. He wasn't just a fighter anymore, he was a phenomenon, a living legend, a hero to millions. But with greatness came scrutiny, and there was one fight the world demanded, one opponent who haunted Manny's legacy like a shadow: Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd "Money" Mayweather Jr., undefeated, arrogant, and arguably the most defensively gifted fighter in boxing history. For years, fans begged for Manny versus Floyd, a super fight that would determine the true pound-for-pound king. Negotiations started and collapsed multiple times. Mayweather demanded Olympic-style drug testing. Manny's team refused, feeling disrespected. The accusations, the trash talk, the back and forth became a circus. And while the Mayweather fight remained in limbo, Manny's life outside the ring grew increasingly complex. He became a congressman in the Philippines, then a senator. He was no longer just an athlete. He was a politician, a celebrity, a national treasure. Every time Manny fought, the entire country stopped. Crime rates dropped to near zero during his fights because even criminals stayed home to watch. When Manny fights, one Filipino journalist wrote, 30 million people hold their breath at the same time. But the weight of being a national hero took its toll. In 2012, Manny faced Juan Manuel Marquez for the 4th time in one of boxing's greatest rivalries. The fight was close, brutal, and competitive. Then, in the 6th round, Marquez landed a perfectly timed right hand that knocked Manny unconscious in devastating fashion. The image of Manny lying face first on the canvas, motionless, sent shockwaves around the world. For the first time in his career, Manny looked vulnerable. Mortal, human. He took nearly a year off, contemplating retirement. His body was breaking down. His responsibilities in government were growing. Maybe it was time to walk away, but Manny Pacquiao wasn't built to quit. "I still have something to prove," he said, and so he returned. In 2015, the fight that the world had waited a decade for finally happened. Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. It was the richest fight in boxing history, generating over $600 million in revenue. Manny earned $150 million for one night. The poor kid from General Santos City, who once fought for $30, was now the second highest paid athlete on the planet. But the fight itself? It was a disappointment. Mayweather, true to form, boxed defensively, avoiding Manny's attacks and winning on points.
In the first round, 8 of 36 and the 2 big right hands, that was a Mayweather round. Pacquiao virtually diving at him there.
And at the end of that round, a seminal moment, when Pacquiao got inside and tried to throw punches, Mayweather reached out and held him, took Kenny Bayless a long time to get there. Bayless was criticized during the Marcos Maidana fight for
and because he's the taller fighter, he's out of range.
And Mayweather will get warned for that.
Virtually every other opponent are swinging at air against Floyd Mayweather here tonight.
You don't call him the best defensive fighter ever
Right
for no
hand
reason.
by Pacquiao as Mayweather was trying to get away. Of the need to develop angles and not come straight down the middle. Although that left hand landed for Pacquiao and maybe hurt Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather covering up and protecting. Pacquiao landed a left hand shot. Slip for Pacquiao, and now the Pacquiao-oriented crowd is going wild. Hard right hand by Pacquiao.
Started at this round like he wants to make. It's becoming obvious. You know, we said it going in. Mayweather's a true welterweight, and Manny Pacquiao is a smaller.
Entered the ring. He didn't get off to his fastest start in the first couple of rounds. That he hits him into the corner. Starts one of those flurries. Didn't land anything significant.
And got caught going up twice.
Manny lost a unanimous decision. After the fight, it was revealed that Manny had fought with a torn rotator cuff in his right shoulder, a devastating injury that limited his punching power. Many believed this would be the end. Manny was 36 years old, injured, defeated by his greatest rival. But once again, Manny proved everyone wrong. He returned to the ring, defeated Timothy Bradley and Jesse Vargas. And in 2017, at 38 years old, he moved up to welterweight and knocked out Lucas Mathisi to win yet another world title. Then, at 40 years old, in what many considered impossible, Manny Pacquiao defeated Keith Thurman, one of the division's top fighters, to become the oldest welterweight champion in boxing history. Father Time is undefeated, they said, but Manny Pacquiao didn't listen.
Desde mi punto de vista, el dominio del Pacman. Fíjate, mi querido Rodo, lo dices bien. Yo lo dije en un principio, mi Rodo, que a veces la vejez o ya los años nos llegan en una sola pelea. Creo que a Pacquiao sí le llegó la edad, mi querido Rodo. Si tú viste un Pacquiao, lo viste rápido por momentos, pero por momentos se nos cansó. No fue el Manny que vimos en la última pelea, donde tuvo una pelea difícil, dura. Sin embargo, una sí la sacó todavía en los últimos rounds. Se le vio esa fortaleza, esa rapidez. Ahora lo vi ya como resignado, mi querido Rodo, porque su golpeo no llevaba la misma potencia.
On August 21st, 2021, at 42 years old, Manny Pacquiao stepped into the ring for what would be his final fight, a loss to Yordenis Ugas. His body, after decades of wars, could no longer keep up with his heart. Shortly after, Manny officially announced his retirement to focus on his presidential campaign in the Philippines. But Manny Pacquiao's legacy was already cemented. He remains the only 8-division world champion in boxing history. He fought in 4 different decades. He went from weighing 106 pounds to fighting and winning at 154 pounds, a weight jump that defies logic. He generated billions in revenue, inspired millions, and gave hope to an entire nation. But more than the titles, the money, or the records, Manny Pacquiao proved something far more powerful: that your beginning doesn't determine your ending, that poverty isn't permanent, that a kid selling donuts on the street can become boxing royalty. So, what do you think? Does Manny Pacquiao deserve to be ranked as the greatest fighter of all time, or does his loss to Mayweather keep him out of that conversation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely love to hear your take. And if you found this story inspiring, you should check out the video on your screen right now about another athlete who defied impossible odds. Michael O'Hare, the homeless kid who became an NFL star and inspired the movie The Blind Side. Click to watch his incredible journey. That's the knockout punch for today. See you in the next one.